The Shadow, Batman, issue number 1. Now you may be thinking, didn't you already do a Shadow Batman? Yes, but that was actually Batman Shadow, which was from DC. This is Shadow Batman, which is from Dynamite. I guess that was part of the deal where DC will get to do their Batman Shadow story, and then Dynamite will get to do their Shadow Batman story. Neither stories have anything to do with each other, and I believe they're actually done by the same writer, which gave me a little bit of hope because Batman Shadow from DC was actually not too bad. It's just I felt like it focused too much on Batman and did a little too much to make him look like the better character. And they betrayed Shadow kind of basically like a jerk ass who like even his friends hated him and he's like his philosophy is all wrong and Batman's right and all that stuff, and I always kind of hated that. Uh, just because like I got a bias towards the Shadow. I don't really care all that much for Batman as a character. Meanwhile, the Shadow is like one of my favorite characters of all time. Uh, Plus, I completely agree with his philosophy on dealing with criminals way more than I agree with Batman's. Batman kind of, I always felt like Batman was kind of like a hypocrite. But yeah. So I was kind of hoping, okay, maybe now the Shadow will get to be in the spotlight, and Batman's the one that's kind of, riding the Shadow's coattails for this story. Nope. No, I'm completely wrong. This issue just might as well be freaking Batman and Damian featuring the Shadow. I don't even want to say featuring the Shadow because the Shadow literally appears in what, maybe 2 pages, not even. Like in one page, he appears as literally a shadow. It's like it's just his shadow. You don't actually see him. And then in another page, he appears. And then he appears for like another page, and that's it. And then everything else is just basically Batman and Damian. And I can't stand Damian. I hate Damian so much. He is one of those characters that I want them to kill him so badly. I want DC just to be like, all right, Damian, you're done. But there are people who actually like him. That's one of the reasons why I haven't read Super Sons yet. A lot of people keep telling me to read Super Sons, and like it sounds good, but I hate Damian. There's nothing that Damian has been in that I've liked. Even his brief appearance in Dark Metal was just meh. Like he was only in for like a couple panels, so he was okay. It was fine to deal with him. But the issue of Teen Titans I had to read for the what was it called? Not Defiance, but the setup for Defiance arc, where Deathstroke keeps trying to go back in time to save his son from dying. There was like a crossover with one of the Teen Titans issues, and because I was reading Deathstroke and I wanted to see exactly what was going on, I read it and I can't stand Damian. There's nothing that he's been in that I like. But yeah, this should basically be Batman and Damian, and then in very 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 tiny print that like you can barely see, maybe only with like my magnifying glass, put featuring the Shadow. I will say the cover is not that bad, except I don't know what the hell they're doing with the Shadow's face. This is the one thing I always found kind of weird. Where the Shadow was in his like 30s, 40s as in the 1930s. So if you want to bring him to the modern day, it's like might as well just forget about making him an old man and then just make him like bring him back as the youth that he is in the 30s, and then just come up with some like mystical reason for why he hasn't aged. Because what you're expecting us to believe? So what? Shadow be like in his 30s in the 1930s, plus 70 years would be 2000, plus almost another 20 years. Shadow be like 120. You telling me the Shadow at 120 is going to be fighting crime? I don't think so. So like I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why they try to bring him back as an old man. Just bring him back at as his youth. Bring him back as he was, when he was popular in his prime, and then just come up with some mystical reason. There are mystical reasons you can use, since there are magic involved when it comes to the Shadow, especially the radio dramas. The radio dramas deals a lot with well, I don't want to say deals a lot with magic, but I mean the Shadow was trained in magic. He knows magic so well that he can like do like Jedi mind tricks to people and have them like he can like get people to confess things that they wouldn't. He can get people to, like he can have them. He can like trick their minds so that like he becomes invisible. Like he can stand in front of people and they can't see him, kind of thing. So I mean, there's magic involved when it comes to the Shadow. So just use that. Like I don't get why they always got to make him an old man, especially since it doesn't make sense. Like it would make sense if it was like it took place like 40 years after the Shadow was, fighting crime. So he would be back in the 70s. So, okay, I don't really see a dude in the 70s fighting crime, but I mean, I can kind of maybe buy that a little bit. But I mean, you want to age the Shadow realistically. That's going to be like, he's going to be basically like, what, almost 120 years old. But yeah, we start in New York City, and I guess it's New Year's, and we see Pig and his henchmen running around trying to put masks on people's faces. And the reason why he does that is because when he puts the mask on their face, they become one of his henchmen. So what are they called? The Dolotrons. Okay, so he's trying to basically create a bunch of Dolotrons. I don't know too much about Pig. I just know him very briefly from, I think I saw one episode of him in that one recent Batman CGI TV series that was, it was okay. You know what? I want to see them do a Batman TV series where they focus more on his detective skills. I know the CGI was kind of trying to be like that, but I felt like they could have done a lot more. Because, I mean, that's how Batman started. He started off as a detective, but now he's kind of, I don't know, they kind of portray him as like a generic crime fighter, and it's like, I don't know. Like, when it comes to the Arkham games, like, my favorite aspect of that game is more of the detective stuff than anything else. Like, I like that kind of, I don't know, I like mysteries and stuff like that. So I kind of wish they would go more on his detective background. So Batman's, taking on Pig, and then Damian shows up, and he starts fighting the Dolotrons. Have I told you how much I hate this character? I can't stand him. But yeah, I mean, he just basically goes around beating up the Dolotrons. And while he's doing that, Batman is talking to Pig. And Pig is basically telling Batman that it wasn't his idea. Well, I don't want to say it wasn't. Well, I don't want to necessarily say that, because Pig is like going crazy. He's kind of just saying like, they came back, Batman. They came back. Don't you see? My dead Dolotrons. Do you not see? Someone made them perfect puppets, and this time it wasn't me. So basically, someone else is the one that's kind of gave Pig the, I guess, the power to bring these Dolotrons back. So yeah, here's the that one thing I was talking about where we're at a funeral, Blue Coal Cemetery. So I thought that was like actually a good nod to the old radio drama, because the old 1930s, the Shadow radio drama, the main sponsor was Blue Coal, and they used to have commercials for it. Like, for anyone who's ever interested, you can actually find the Shadow radio dramas, and you can download them for free. They're in the public domain, so you can get them from I forgot the website, but it's just Old Time Radio, I believe, is the website. Type in Old Time Radio Shadow, and you can download like almost every episode, I believe they have. And yeah, give them a listen. They're really good. But yeah, I thought that was a good nod. But anyways, yeah, we see a casket, and then we see the Shadow standing over it, and it's Margot. So this is the first page that we see the Shadow, and all we basically see is part of his scarf and his shadow. So seeing as the casket is out, I'm assuming Margot just died. Really? I mean, Margot was like in her 30s in 1930. So you telling me that Margot lived to like almost 120 years old? Like, see, this is the thing. Like, there's too much of a difference between when the Shadow was, when the Shadow came out when he was in his prime, till now, that you can't age the Shadow realistically. Like, Margot would have been dead like decades ago, I would assume. Like, maybe 100 I can buy, but she's not going to be living up to 120 years old. Like, it's not going to happen. I don't know. I don't buy you guys trying to age Shadow realistically. That's why the Shadow, if you do the Shadow, you got to do either one of two things. One, You got to keep it all in the 1930s, but you can't really do that if you wanted to have Batman involved, unless you're doing like old school Batman, which I think would be actually really interesting. I wish they would have done that because Batman came out in the 30s as well, right? I would have been so like happy if they had done a 1930s Batman Shadow crossover with Shadow in his prime and 1930s version of Batman. Like that would have been so awesome. And it also would have been something completely unique. I mean, every time we see the Shadow in Batman, it's always the Shadow in Batman's timeline. We never see it the other way around. And I don't want to see like Batman goes into the past or anything like that. Just do a I mean this isn't even canon. This is like its own like mini verse kind of thing. Like nothing that happens here is going to affect DC's main universe storyline whatsoever. So just do it. Have fun. Have a 1930s Shadow with 1930s Batman. I mean, come on. I'm not the only one that thinks that would be awesome, right? Anyone else out there? You guys would like to see that. That would have been so cool. But no, instead, it's like they got to constantly age the Shadow so he can fit into Batman's timeline. And it's like, why? Why you keep trying to force Shadow into Batman's timeline? Make Batman come to Shadow's timeline. But, yeah, I mean, if you are going to put the Shadow in Batman's timeline, don't age the Shadow. Keep him in his youth. Keep him in his prime. And just come up with some mystical reason for it. It's not that hard. Magic is involved in the Shadow. Like it's not like you can't do that. But yeah, so there we go. There's one moment of the Shadow. Basically see a scarf and we see the Shadow. And I'm like, that would be a decent intro if you actually did more with the Shadow. So we see Pig and he's in jail and he's like freaking out. The policemen are just kind of like, they leave him alone. And then we see the Shadow. Here's the other moment where we see the Shadow. I thought, you know what, this is actually kind of cool page where we see the Shadow just like come out of the darkness. Okay, so maybe I lied when I said it was like 2 pages. It's more like 2 scenes. That is if you even want to count the funeral as a scene, because he doesn't. I mean, you just see a shadow. But yeah, he basically he comes and he interrogates Pig, and basically he's like questioning Pig, like, Gotham is your world. Why the hell did you come to New York? And the Pig kind of says like why don't you read my mind? So Shadow reads his mind, and whatever he sees, he's freaked out. Like he. So I mean, if it's something that's to freak out the Shadow, that's got to be like a huge deal, because nothing really freaks out the Shadow at all. He's like freaking cool as a cucumber, which I never got that right. I never got what that meant. Are cucumbers usually cold? Like that, I don't know. That idiom is just weird. Maybe like cold as ice. The Shadow's very stoic, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, the Pig is basically saying that something brought the Dolotrons back, and the Shadow had to look under their hood. I don't know if he's just kind of rambling, but he had to look under their hood to find a message inside them with no expiration date. So he's kind of like just talking in like riddles, and the Shadow just slinks off into into the Shadow. But I like this where Pig is like, you're flaying in the dark. You're weak, and you'll stay that way because of what you won't admit even to yourself. The Shadow doesn't know. And I'm like, oh, because the Shadow knows. Shadow knows everything. But yeah, then we cut to Wayne Manor back in Gotham City, where Bruce is kind of looking at an empty room that would have been Damian's playroom. Like if Damian was raised by Batman instead. I wanted a Shadow story. I don't want a freaking Batman story. Like I get it. It's Shadow and Batman crossover. Batman's gonna be involved, all right. But I don't want Batman to be 98% of the story. I mean, the Shadow is supposed to be the top billing for this series. Batman had his series. We just finished Batman and Shadow. Now it's the Shadow and Batman. This is the Shadow's turn. Why do we have to keep giving Batman all the focus? That's another reason why I can't stand Batman. Or I don't want to say I can't stand him. I don't like him. I mean, I've given reasons plenty of times. If you guys seen my old videos, you guys know why I don't like Batman. But another reason is also just the fact that they keep cramming him into every freaking story. Like, Okay, Justice League Dark. Freaking love Justice League Dark. John Constantine is one of my favorite characters ever. So excited when they created the Justice League Dark movie. And then Batman's involved. And I'm like, why? Why is Batman involved in Justice League Dark? Why do you gotta shoehorn Batman into everything? Enough. Jesus. I get it. He's like your top guy. But still, like, doesn't he have enough stories and series already? I'm okay with him in this series because, I mean, it's the Shadow Batman. Obviously, Batman's going to be involved. Why the hell does he have to be involved in everything, though? Like, why is he like, in 98% of this issue? Why can't the Shadow take center stage? Why can't we have, the Shadow, like, we follow the Shadow. The Shadow's our main character. And then Batman, kind of has brief appearances, and Damian can just screw right off. He doesn't even need to be involved. But no, instead, this isn't the Shadow. This is basically Maori with Bruce and Damian and their family issues. Like, I don't care about their family drama. I honestly, I don't care. I don't care about these two characters. So we cut back to New York, specifically Manhattan, where we have Damian's lair, and he's doing research on Pig. And Batman is basically like, you're working here alone. And Damian kind of sarcastically, like, calls Batman the greatest detective ever, pretty much. Batman doesn't want him involved because, he's like, this is too big for Damian. Sorry if I sound exasperated. I don't care about Batman. I don't care about Damian. So the scenes with them involved, it's just like, all right, whatever. Just give me the Shadow. So Batman, basically says, you're out of your depth. Damian says, they've been saying that since I was 7. You're boring me. Batman, you can't talk to me that way. Damian, they say that too. And then Batman, tells him to shut up and throws him to a wall. And then we get a fight scene. And the fight scene ends with Batman holding a bat grenade, which goes off. And that's how the issue ends. And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I think I've gotten to a point now where every time when I see any announcement of the Shadow, my hopes are just kind of dead. I'm just like, I don't care anymore, because you guys haven't done him right for years. I mean, there have been a couple of issues. There have been a couple of comics that he's been okay in. The movie was okay. It wasn't the greatest. It wasn't like completely faithful. It's just like, meh, whatever. But I don't know. My hope, my enthusiasm dies every time I see anything involving the Shadow anymore, because it's like, you guys just can't do them right. In regards to this issue, my reaction is meh. I'll probably keep reading it just because it has a Shadow in it. I want to see. I mean, it hasn't gone like the crazy, overly political route that the Shadow standalone Dynamite series is gone, that I dropped. But we need more Shadow. We need less Batman. We need even less Damian. I don't care about those characters. I don't care about Damian. I don't care about Damian's relationship with his father. I don't care about Bruce's relationship with his son. I honestly don't care. I don't care about these two characters. Stop making a series revolving around them. Why is a Shadow even involved? This might as well just be Batman and Damian. So please, for the love of God and all that's holy, just end this stupid storyline by the next issue and let's just focus on the Shadow, and I'll be happy. But yeah, that was the Shadow Batman issue number 1. I don't care anymore. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I sure as hell didn't enjoy this issue. Catch you guys all next time. Later.